You watch Landman?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how he smiles. I mean, I guess you would kind of be the John Hamm character in that show.
There's been a lot of debate around our office and in the industry around whether John, my partner, is John Hamm, and and who's the other guy, and I don't know. It's
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Yeah, we're probably a mixture of the two. Have both been out in the field signing leases, doing stuff. Have all kinds of crazy stories. But
wait. When you and John are arguing, do you want to be John Hamm or Billy Bob?
I think you want to be John Hamm because he's kind of the more handsome, dignified, one of the two. But Billy Bob's not bad either.
It's set in Fort Worth, where Cody lives now. He's from West Texas, which is where Billy Bob lives in the show as well. I don't know. Did you speak to Taylor Sheridan?
We know Taylor. We didn't have any part in the show. We ought to talk to him though. We'd have some good stories.
He hasn't done research by talking to you. Come on.
Oh, he knows us and knows enough about us that I'm sure that there was some influence there. But no, we weren't a part of the show.
Okay.
But I love the fact that they have a lot of Texas Tech plugs, and
they do.
And Billy Bob's son, was a wrestler at Texas Tech, even though we don't have a wrestling team. But he was, So it's great that West Texas and the oil and gas industry are portrayed in a positive light generally. Now, I mean, we don't have like battles with the cartel and people dying every day.
It's never happened?
No. And if somebody died every single day on a workover rig, that workover rig wouldn't be.
What about the cartel thing?
I know. None of that's, we've had issues with, we actually had issues with Venezuelan gangs for a while stealing oil.
In Texas?
In West Texas, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and so that was a big problem for a little while. I mean,
wait, what is it? So like Tren de Aragua type, or is there other gangs?
I don't know which gang it was, but they were very well organized, very well equipped, very knowledgeable because they had worked in the oil field in Venezuela, and they came and started stealing equipment and oil from.
How do you steal oil? Taking the tanker?
Yeah, so most new wells produce straight into pipeline, so that's harder to do. But the older vertical wells produce into tanks, and so they just go out there in the middle of the night. They know how to do it. They bring a tank truck with them, and they just steal the oil out of the tanks. So it was, I mean, the things that were said on TV are actually true. Like the Venezuelan gangs were a problem.
Yeah.
And it's gotten better, Yeah,
no, she's using past tense.
Yeah, I think a lot of those folks have been kind of rounded up, which is good. But it's tough, you're way out in the middle of the country. There's, it's 45 minutes to an hour for the sheriff to get there. And so there's nothing you can really do about it.
I think you and I talked about this. I have a lot of family, mostly in-laws, in West Texas, in Odessa, in Lubbock. And if you're from West Texas, at least in the past 20 or 30 years, you have a strong Latino influence in the way that you were raised. You were raised around them, but that traditionally meant Mexicans. And I remember them saying to me, what's interesting is there's a lot of Venezuelans all of a sudden showing up in West Texas. And it's just a little bit of an observational, anecdotal illustration of what changed in the past 5 to 7 years in America.
Right, and I think that for the most part, especially in West Texas, if somebody shows up and wants to go to work, they're more than welcome to be there, and that's never been a problem. But if you want to steal, if you want to cause problems and crime and disrupt the community, you're not welcome. And so there has been a perceivable difference over the last year in terms of that aspect of it. It seems to have slowed down and things are more under control than they were. But no, we've never had a cartel plane crash on our ranch with, a bunch of drugs in it or anything like that. None of that stuff's ever happened. We've never had anybody kidnapped or any shootouts or anything like that.
Yeah.
So knock on wood.
Well,
but but it's usually just, fairly mundane but very hard work. And and I work in an office most of the time or just have meetings with people, and so. But I have a ton of respect for the guys who are out there on the rigs. I mean, that's a tough job, but something that I think a lot of people in other parts of the country take for granted. I mean, you flip your light switch on, your lights turn on. They don't understand how difficult it is for that energy to be extracted, refined, and turned into electricity. It takes a lot, and so those guys deserve a lot of respect, and and I certainly do have a lot of it for them.